Hello, I'm Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I will be doing something a little bit different in that I'll be drawing some giant lizard mounts. I'm going to be homebrewing them a little bit, more of a tweak than a complete recreation. But basically in my home game, each of my players has been given an egg for a riding lizard. But when they hatch, they're going to have certain abilities that are unique to each player. So I'm drawing them as a top view so that when we have them on the board, the players can put their tokens on top of the lizards when they are being ridden. That is why it's not a super dynamic pose for each of these. But I think they're pretty cool, so I wanted to share my creation process. The one I'm working on now is for our barbarian, who is a bugbear, and she's really tough and really badass. So I wanted something that looked spiky and rough and tough and hard to take down. The adjustment to the stats that I'm making to this mount is that it's going to have +2 to AC, which will increase the armor class of this lizard to be the same as my barbarian. I think that'll come in quite handy when they're riding into battle together. I wanted the skin to look a little bit like bark skin, which is obviously a thing in the game. Later on I take it to a bit of a new level and make it more rough and tough, but you'll see that when I add the colors in. Next up, we have one that's a little bit more touchy-feely. I went with a gecko as a base because I think geckos are cute, and this is for a character who likes the cute things. It's a tabaxi bard, and instead of the guitar, the bard plays the drums, and she's very emotionally aware, very in touch with her feelings and the feelings of people around her. So this lizard will have an increased perception skill. Rather than it being useful in combat per se, it's going to be very useful in the role-playing aspects where the lizard will actually change color based on its mood, and maybe based on the mood of whether someone's lying or if there are predators around, where it can pick up on something that perhaps the players don't notice. Finally, we have our rogue. The lizard for this one, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to use as a base, but basically you'll see when I color it in, it's kind of a shadowy, smoky coloring, so it almost doesn't really have, well, it has a solid form, but it disappears into shadow very easily, which is useful if you are a rogue and needing to go places without being seen. One of the reasons I chose the mounts to be lizards rather than, say, horses, which is a bit more standard, is that lizards can crawl up walls and onto ceilings. And right now, our group is in the jungle, and a horse would be pretty boring and impractical. So I thought lizards might be a little bit more fun of getting them around a bit more quickly. You can see the smoke effect that I'm adding onto this one. It sort of shimmers. You don't really know where a shadow starts and this one ends, or this other way around. You get it. It's a stealthy lizard. I didn't want it to be solid black. I wanted it to be a little bit more magical and a little bit like, well, obviously when I print these, I didn't just want it to be a blob of black ink. So I added a little bit more detail in terms of coloring, went with more of a purpley nighttime sky look and feel. I wanted it to be so that when it was nighttime, this lizard's in its element. In terms of mechanics, the change to the stats of this one would obviously be that it has additional stealth value. Probably going to match that of my player. Haven't really decided it yet, so I'm not going to say the actual numbers I have in my mind in case I change them before I publish this. Not that my players actually watch this channel. I don't know if they do. If you do, post something in the comments, you cowards. And if you don't, I'll just assume that you suck. No, that's mean. I haven't really told my friends and family about this channel. Basically, people who follow my Instagram might know about it, but I'm not really shouting about it to the world, so I can't blame people I know for not following me or subscribing. Also, you know, this kind of stuff ain't for everybody, so I wouldn't really expect my mum to watch these, although I would not be surprised if she struggled through them. Hi, Mum. Anywho, now we're colouring in. Very exciting stuff. I'm obviously going with a sort of brown tree bark kind of colour on the hardcore tough stuff one. It's awkward because I can't name the lizards because my players are going to give their lizards names. So I'm stuck calling them stealthy and tough and cute, I guess. Made the stealthy one a little bit more night sky like. I wanted it to have some detail, but I didn't want it to be too out there because, again, this one's supposed to blend into the background. This one, on the other hand, the tough stuff lizard, I decided to make it a little bit more hardcore than bark skin. I wanted it to look a little bit almost demonic, so I'm going for a lava, sort of cracked lava effect. And this brush made it so easy. I might have gone a little bit overboard, but I think once they're printed, they're gonna look really cool. And it does help the dark brown to look more like rock or bark or something rough and hard when it looks as though there's sort of glowing embers underneath it. Now for the, I left the cutesy one till last. I wasn't really sure how to color this one, given that it will change color based on the situation it's in. But I wanted it to be a little bit like a pearl, like a little bit iridescent. So I colored in the base, but then I think I changed it. I went and found a sample of a pearl to get the coloring. And once I had the colors, I basically just stole the colors from the sample, and so I think I changed the base color to like a kind of beigeish grey, because that's the base of the pearl. Let's see, here we go. Pearl, yay! So yeah, you can see the sample here. I think that's actually a screenshot from a Procreate tutorial on how to create a pearl with the colors and the brushes. I basically just used the colors as an example. I didn't watch the tutorial. But I think it comes out okay. Lots of very soft colors blended together. If you're wondering how I chose where to put the pink versus the green versus the yellow versus the purple, I didn't really have a specific process. It was very much put it wherever and then see how it looks. And put the other colors where you haven't already put one. Very scientific process for you there. But yeah, it's an unusually shaped object, so unlike a pearl, the iridescent colors would be pretty sporadic. They'd be a bit unpredictable, and I mean, this lizard changes color at will, so it's impossible to get it wrong. That is my logic. And that's about it. That's the 3 little lizard guys. Well, they're giant lizards, but you get the idea. A little more interesting than the standard generic one. I didn't want to print 3 identical lizards for my players to use. That seemed a bit boring. I think they came out pretty well in printing them to fit the scale of my board. Got my little character tokens there, and as you can see, I use a very highly detailed board. It's good for getting around though. They do change the scenery like a lot. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please hit that button. It really means a lot to me, and have a great day. Thanks, bye.